Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to another speed build video. If you haven't guessed from the title and the thumbnail of this build, we are doing basically a Grand Designs replication build, I suppose you could call it. So basically in the UK, and I'm sure they have this in other countries as well, but there is this show called Grand Designs where people document building their own houses basically, and obviously these aren't just standard houses, these are massive grand designs, hence the title of the show. So what I wanted to do was just kind of like replicate one of the builds that aired on the TV in the UK in 2009, and it's this sort of like eco arch, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, so the whole idea of this is that the roof is kind of a arch which goes all the way over and touches the like the ground of the build, and then as you probably saw from the thumbnail, which is something I've not actually been able to do with this, but it also has like greenery growing on the rooftop in a sort of like archway as well, making kind of like emphasizing the sort of eco-ness to this build, or to the build that they did. Yeah, trying to replicate it was very, very hard. I'm not gonna lie, like when it comes to roofs, I am not like the best person at designing like funky roofs and making it all interesting. So this was very hard. I've like skipped out a load of I've skipped out a lot of my struggle because I was trying to make the roof as smooth as possible, but I just wasn't getting what I wanted. So in the end, I was like, did the roof in like different sections to it, thinking that would work well, but I don't know, I just didn't get like the whole sort of smooth archway that I was trying to get. So in the end, which is quite annoying, but in the end I just have like one roofway which stretches from the ground, which makes gameplay fairly hard. So what ends up happening, rather than like the house like cutting away the roof at the top as it looks like it's doing now, you actually have the roof stretching all the way over, and it means like when you put your walls down, the roof is still there. So it's not ideal, but to be honest, I kind of created this build without like thinking, or without like having it in mind, like actually using it. So yeah, it's probably not very player friendly, I'm just gonna say that. But apart from that, I love how it turned out. Like in terms of like the outside, I tried to copy the picture like completely. I wanted the outside to be very true to the original build. But yeah, so Grand Designs, like I said before, it's like it probably is a program that majority of people have like a version of it in their own countries, but in the UK it is a very popular show. I'm always like really excited when like it comes on, because also like I work in the TV industry, so like watching TV for me is like a big part of my life. But yeah, the Grand Designs is a show which is presented by a man called Kevin MacLeod, and he has done this show for like absolutely years and years and years. But yeah, I always get really excited when it comes on, just because I love seeing like massive buildings, and I suppose it's probably like one things that had actually like inspired me to do my own builds in The Sims, just because obviously it's probably never gonna be like something that I could do in reality. So doing something like this in The Sims is kind of like a nice way just to get it out my system, I suppose. But yeah, so I've been trying to explain this show for a while. Grand Designs obviously follows like people whilst they build their own homes, and a lot of the time the builds are like massive. Sometimes they're not too big, but they're grand in the way that they've like built like a fantastic home on like a small plot. Like sometimes the show features like houses in London, and like in London there's like sort of like a housing crisis, I suppose, where people actually can't afford to buy their own homes, so they're having to come up with like smart ways of building, of like living in London basically, but without having to spend like basically like houses in London at the moment are like they go for like millions of pounds. 2-bedroom houses could be like 750,000. So yeah, it's all very expensive. So that's why I really like the show. It's all, like I said, it's very inspiring when it comes to like doing Sims builds. But yeah, this is like the first time that I've actually like used it and thought, yeah, actually I'm gonna try and do that in The Sims. And I kind of like just chose one of the hardest builds I could possibly have chosen. As you can see with this build, like I finding it very hard to do the roof, and because like I keep on changing the sizes of the walls, it means that it doesn't like fit properly. Like I have to keep on changing the roof so that it fits properly, and then I have to change the windows, and then yeah, like this beginning bit took me forever. So as I was saying earlier, the exterior of this build follows fairly closely the with the actual build that I copied from a picture, but in terms of the interior, it's all just completely made up. But I think like I kind of like just trying to channel my inner interior designer and thought, well, this would probably just all be like plain coloured walls and like eco, and yeah. So we are building on a plot in Brindleton Bay. I've not built on this one yet, but I was quite amazed with like the whole like, I know obviously you can't use it or anything, but there's like a whole like harbour area which it has a view of. So yeah, it works fairly nicely. So like the windows with this like obviously make use of the beautiful views that the plot of land has. So at the moment we've kind of like settled on what I wanted to do with the roof. So it just means like in terms of the exterior, it's just doing the final little touches. I quite like how this build, it has like blocks of rooms which like come out of the archway. It could have been that they just had the main build as the arch, but I don't know, I quite like, oh god, sorry, it's fairly late when I'm recording this voiceover, so I keep on yawning. But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. Moving on anyway. Just experimenting with a few of the windows. As you can see from the outside, the exterior is mostly timber, and we have the odd exposed brick wall. It's quite nice because those windows at the very top, which just basically looks into the roof, that is not CC, but because of the archway, it kind of looks like the frame of the window works like fairly well with, I don't know, it kind of looks like it gets cut off. I also discovered that some like big concrete ugly windows, if you turn them the other way, you actually have a very nice sized frame. So they have also featured in a couple of places on this build. But yeah, I was just trying to experiment a lot with like some of the windows that I don't normally use. A lot of them are just like a little bit too fussy, so I think I do end up like changing them in the end, but yeah, no, I think it works out fairly nicely. And this is like probably one of the first houses that I have built an actual garage with it. So I was actually making use of the the garage doors that are like non-functional from like City Living pack. But yeah, I wonder like if we'll actually ever get like a car expansion pack. I remember there was one for The Sims 3 which I never really bothered to get because you kind of got like standard cars anyway from the base game pack that so that came with it anyway. But yeah, I don't know, I don't think actually like using cars would work in The Sims 4 just because it's not like an open world. So I did end up putting like some paneling on the side. I was just trying to like make it just kind of like flow a bit better, but I don't know, I didn't really like how it looked in the end. Oh dear me. But yeah, so like I think towards the end I try and make it look a bit more eco by just like putting bits of grass everywhere and kind of like really going with the whole like eco trend that is put in design in this house. So obviously grass roofs are a must. But yeah, so yeah, the like outside of this did take up a lot of my time. I am like fairly surprised how nowadays like doing bigger builds don't actually take me that long to build in reality. I think this took me around 5.5 hours, which is like a massive improvement to like some of my earlier big builds. I remember like I think one of my first modern family homes that I made, I remember complaining that it took me forever and that I was never going to do a big build again. But obviously that has changed quite a lot. So yeah, now I'm like a lot quicker now when it comes to building bigger homes. So we're just trying to do like some landscaping at the moment. We're trying to like, I've never really done like curved patios or like curved walls or curved rooms, I suppose you could say it's called, before. But with this I kind of thought it would be fairly fitting because of it's got like the arched roof. That it would be fairly fitting to kind of have like a arched stony wall, I suppose. But yeah, it does take me like a few goes to like try and get used to it, like, and actually like use that tool as a function. So I just end up playing around for a little bit. In terms of the landscaping in this build, I don't really do too much with it. We just kind of like have a little patio and then kind of like do like a flower grassy heap on the side, just because if you look at the picture this is replicated from, it kind of has like where like the grass goes over the roofway, it kind of like starts in like a big bundle of greenery, which I think is really nice. So I tried my hardest in like some sort of way just to try and replicate that a little bit without like actually having to go along and put bits of grass on like the roof by lifting items up. I did start to try that, but it was like really hard, so I gave up fairly quickly, to be honest. So yeah, I didn't really want to waste all my time doing like a silly little very painstakingly boring task just to get like the picture, like just to get this build exactly the same as the picture. So as always, I am starting with the kitchen just because I get a really good idea of like what I want to do. And I realise I always start by like putting way too many counters, and then like slowly getting rid of them whilst I end up putting in like a fridge and a oven and like a sink and everything that is essential. Because this is like quite a big open space. I kept all the downstairs very open plan. So the kitchen has a nice like island counter, which I just couldn't get right. So I really wanted to make it curved, but for some reason like I couldn't make it work. I don't know if I'm just like using the wrong sort of counters, but yeah, I couldn't figure it out. And because it's like a massive kitchen and obviously it's very modern, we put in 2 sinks because 2 people can do the washing up in this house. But yeah, like we just go for like a black and white theme, I suppose, and I kind of mix in the Parenthood cabinets with some of, I think it's base game for the other ones as the worktops, but it's quite nice. I really like the texture on that what's it called? That worktop, just because it's like kind of like a marble effect, and I really do like marble. So, but yeah, so obviously it's all open plan. We have the same like wooden floor running through the whole house, and it took me quite a while to like kind of figure out which one I wanted, but I go for like the paler color swatch, which comes with the City Living expansion pack. And I kind of feel like that works nicely because it kind of works with the timbering, the timber cladding, I suppose you could call it, on the outside of the build. So kind of like the inside is the outside and the outside is the inside, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so like downstairs, the only room that we have is like a laundry room, because of course you need a laundry room. And I try and like use some of the laundry stuff pack is like very rustic, but I wanted to like try and make it as modern as possible, so we kind of just use a swatch which is all black, and I don't know, I think it works quite nicely. I suppose like I would see like someone using like that sink, because obviously it's not very modern, but it would be like a sink for like washing your dog or whatever, because obviously you wouldn't want to use your main kitchen sink or one of your two main kitchen sinks. But yeah, so I kind of like realized like halfway through this build that I didn't really like plan the floor plan, because normally, because I do like a proper floor plan with walls, it kind of means that whilst I'm like planning out the space, I then know where everything is going to go. So for this, like I didn't plan where like a living room or like a TV area would go. We do have the bit on the end which kind of works out as like a sitting area, but I didn't really think that would be like a good place for watching TV. Not like your Sims Mind, but I kind of feel like this would be like more of like a chill out zone, and that like a sim would come and sit there just to relax and enjoy the views of the harbour. And obviously like in the morning it gets lots of nice sun inside it as well, so I didn't really want to like use that space as a television area. So it kind of meant that I had to move, not really move, but like I had to like try and organize the space in between, so that like I could like fit a TV area. And I suppose in a way, like for the first time, it actually means like I use the space fairly well. I wouldn't necessarily say this is cluttered, but I think it definitely like uses the space in a good way. And like I also realized that I've only just put the stairs in, but that's because like I completely forgot about the upstairs, and it wasn't till like this point that I was like, ah, oh, damn, where are my stairs gonna go? But that was all right, because that meant like I could use the stairs as like a back wall to kind of like put in a rest a TV up against it without it just like being in the middle of a room. So at this point, like trying to like get my camera in a position so that it doesn't get the roof in the way is like fairly difficult. Like I said, I'm like just purely doing this build just because I wanted to do something a little bit out the ordinary and not really like have something that is gonna be like really good to live in. Like I don't think I'd probably ever use this build. But yeah, it just doesn't, because of the roof and the way you have to angle your camera, it doesn't really work very well. But yeah. So the downstairs is pretty much complete. What I like to do before I move like upstairs or whatever, I always like to try and get the lighting correct. I've realised like some of my builds can be a bit dark sometimes, but I kind of would like to think that when you have like the lights on, it's more like mood lighting, I suppose. And I don't know, I always feel like it's good to have like a house that is well lit. So yeah, I normally like go ahead because I normally put like the spotlights in just whilst I'm like building, so like people can see what I'm doing. But then it means that I then end up having to delete everything and just like put proper lighting in with like cool lampshades and everything. So moving on to the upstairs. This has like 3 bedrooms, so like overall it's not like packed with bedrooms. I did want to kind of like do like different sort of bedrooms. So we have like, again, like I hate doing like baby's room or toddler rooms or child rooms. So for this, I think I've kind of like decorated one of the bedrooms as like a teenager room. And I think when it comes to like doing bedrooms, that's like as young as I want to get, I suppose. But yeah, I've like with the bathroom, so I can't remember if any of them, I think they all have an ensuite. I can't remember. I know 2 of them do. But obviously the master bedroom, which is the one which is on the right, that has like quite a nice ensuite bathroom. But yeah, so this is like what I'm doing now at the moment is the main family bathroom. But yeah, like the roof on here, just because it doesn't collapse like it would do in a normal build, just means like my view for this was just very hard to like figure out. So like I'm sorry to anyone who may actually want to download this build. It might be quite difficult to play with, as I've said before, but yeah, I tried to make the roof as good as I could, and this was all I could do. But yeah, so yeah, the master bathroom is fairly plain, but it's got like, I just like using like nice simple like light blue tones, I suppose, and it's got like a bathtub and a shower, so like lots of facilities for any guests that come round. I'm in love with this like sort of Victorian floor tile. It came with the vampire pack, and it's like, I think I'm gonna like, I do try and use it in a lot of my builds just because it makes it also stand out a little bit more. And I quite like that sort of look as well. But yeah, so that is the ensuite for the master bedroom. The master bedroom, I tried to like do something different with my colours this time, so we've gone for pink. Normally I wouldn't bother doing like a pink room, but I don't know, what I like to do is like I normally put in a bed, and I like to just choose a colour swatch that I like, and then I try and like design the room around that colour swatch. So normally like the walls come next, and in this case I chose a pink one, so everything was pink. But yeah, so just using like the usual items that I use. I put a desk in this one, just because I realised I don't actually have a computer anywhere else in this house, so I thought it might just be quite a nice idea just to have like a little personal desk space, as well as like all the other items that I normally use. Got like a nice dressing table, which is like just a cupboard, I suppose, and then yeah, just kind of like decorate the walls a little bit with some of my favourite paintings that I use all the time. But yeah, no, I quite like this bedroom. I wouldn't mind living in it myself. But yeah, so yeah, now I'm moving on to like what I classify as the teenager's room. I think when I first started with it, I was sort of designing it for like a child, but then I was like, actually, I don't like it. So it's more of like a teenager's room. Normally like my en-suites that I do in bedrooms are all like pretty much the same. So like a lot of the time they don't tend to like include many items, just like the relevant things that you need. So yeah, I've never really realised that single bed is like so nice. I really like the headboard on it. Obviously I don't really normally use single beds because I like to do more like adult bedrooms, but yeah, no, I quite like that one. But yeah, just putting in all the essential items that a teenager would have. I suppose it is, yeah, I've decorated it for like a teenage girl, who is like probably a little bit alternative. I can't remember if I put like a guitar in there as well. But yeah, just obviously like lots of clutter and like nice bits of items everywhere, just to make it seem like it's lived in, I suppose. Right, so now, yeah, so we're just going on to the final bedroom. So it does actually turn out that all these bedrooms have an ensuite. The final ensuite bathroom, I'm putting my favourite flooring in. I just like trying to choose some like different swatches that might go with it, but I think in the end we choose like a fairly plain wall because I just didn't really want to overdo it that much. But yeah, so obviously it's just an ensuite bathroom, so just all the essential items that we may need, and also an inspirational poster, because when you're sitting on the loo you need oh god, I just didn't say something rude, but yeah, I'm not going to continue. But yeah, it is so nice to be back recording again. I have missed like actually uploading videos and getting content out every week for you guys, so I hope you enjoy this one. But yeah, so little final touches of this house. I actually had like quite a lot of fun doing this, and even though like the roof was a pain, I think I quite like the design of it, and like I tried to, as always, just use some items that I do not normally use. Although a lot of the items I do use a lot of the time anyway, but yeah, so the hallway is always something that I find difficult to decorate. I never really know what to put in it, so a lot of the time it does end up looking a bit plain, but yeah, it's just a hallway, so I kind of just put like a fish tank. I thought that would be quite a nice idea. Sorry, my camera is just going all over the place, trying to just get it in the right position to like see the walls and also like get everything in the correct place. It is like a massive pain in the ass. I completely understand if this is not very pleasant for people to watch. But yeah, again, just finalising by doing my lighting and getting everything lit up. Moving back into the landscaping on the outside. It's just basically putting a load of plants on the rooftop and making that pretty with like some nice little flowers and everything. If you have liked this build, please give it a massive thumbs up. Comment down below your favourite part, and if you haven't subscribed already, click that button and you'll then be updated with all my new builds that I do and any other video that I make in the future. I shall see you next time, everyone. See you later. Bye.